Have you ever wanted to collect and play a military card game that contains everything military that you can think of, from every nation in every era? A game that includes units from each country to compete against other units and can be equipped with any weapon that has been created from around the world. A game that also includes every nation's military vehicles, aircraft and naval vessels to be used to fight on a large-scale battle or a small skirmish. Strategy and Strike, Military Everything aims to be the first military trading card game that includes everything military from every nation that has an armed forces for all to play and collect. Strategy Strike's development first started in 2018 by myself, Declan. The game was called Commando Trading Cards, after my YouTube channel, Commando Green. Some of you watching may have also seen some of my military gaming videos on that channel. I wanted to create a game that had every piece of military kit and units that could sort and fight against other people. No current game has this to offer, but some came close. My inspiration to make this game was firstly my love for the military. I currently serve in the British Army, which gives me a personal insight of how the military works and feels. My secondary inspiration would be the primary reason behind creating this game, was my love for strategy games, which gave players a choice to customise and organise military units to go into battle with. Games such as Wargame Red Dragon, Hearts of Iron, Armour and Total War series were the main games and why I created this game. Thirdly, I gathered inspiration from other card games such as Pokemon and Magic the Gathering, which allow players to collect cool cards and battle with them. My first decision before starting development was to decide on whether to embark on creating a board game or digital game. I decided to start with a physical card game as I had no real expertise with coding and digital game development, but I had a great set of skills with Photoshop and video making due to my many years creating videos for my YouTube channel, Commando Green. I plan to create this into a digital game in the future when the game is released and the game grows as well as my team. So the game itself is a physical card game, where you have to collect cards, create a deck and fight an opponent. Your objective in the game is to wipe all your opponent's cards on the field or reduce their health to 0. There's 4 types of cards in the game. This would allow everything military to be included and to make the game more unique. You have unit cards, support cards, logistic cards and order cards. Firstly, you have the unit cards, which are used to attack. They inflict damage on other cards and your opponent. There are 6 categories of units, each represent a class or type of real-life soldier. So, regular unit cards are the standard unit card type. You may see a large range of units such as combat engineers, reservists, infantry and other basic military units. These cards will be a core foundation to any deck. Next you have the elite infantry. This category of card will only have infantry cards represented. These cards will be stronger and have better stats than your regular infantry cards. You may see units such as the Grenadier Guards, the French Foreign Legion or Panzer Grenadiers. Next is the airborne units. These are another type of military unit that is categorised in the game. These airborne heroes have higher stats and interesting attacks. You may see cards such as the 101st Airborne Division, Canadian Airborne Regiment and the Parachute Regiment represented in this card type. Next is the amphibious infantry. This category of cards are units used to support naval operations. These cards provide more types of attacks and have increased stats. You may see cards such as the United States Marine Corps, the Royal Marines and the Republic of Korea Marine Corps. Law enforcement category. These are government agency units. These cards have interesting stats and abilities that can change the dynamic of any game. You may see cards such as the FBI, KGB, GIGN and the GSG-9. Lastly is the Special Forces category. These cards are the cream of the crop like they are in real life. These cards are all rare and have the highest stats and can change any battle in your favour. You may see cards such as the Special Air Service, the Navy SEALs, Spetsnaz and German KSK. The next type of card you can find in the game is a support card. These cards are also used to attack just like unit cards. There's 3 types of support cards: ground support, air support and naval support. These categories house all the types of military vehicles. Ground support cards represent all land vehicles. There is many variations of cards in this category that can be used for different things on the battlefield. The types of ground support cards you can find are motorbikes, cars, trucks, light utility vehicles, armoured fighting vehicles, armoured personnel carriers, light armoured vehicles, infantry fighting vehicles, main battle tanks, anti-air guns, surface-to-air missiles, surface-to-ship missiles, multi-launch rocket systems, self-propelled artillery and field guns. Next is the air support cards. These represent all airframes within the military. The types of cards you can find in this category are helicopters, transport helicopters, attack helicopters, fighter aircraft, multi-role aircraft, ground support aircraft, bombers, electronic warfare, utility aircraft, and unmanned aerial vehicles. Lastly, you have the naval support cards, which is the category that represents all surface and subsurface naval vessels. The type of cards you can find are aircraft carriers, amphibious command ships, attack submarines, ballistic missile submarines, cruisers, destroyers, frigates, guided missile submarines, landing helicopter docks, landing platform docks, landing ship dock, littoral combat ships, mine countermeasure ships, and patrol craft. There is many variations of support cards in each category, which allows players to have a large selection of vehicles to take to battle. The modern day battlefield is very fluid, therefore there is many types of weapons and vehicles that are utilised to complete different tasks, and it is reflected in this game. The next type of cards is the logistic cards. These cards can increase the stats of unit and support cards, or make an instant effect on a game, and can provide cards with weapons to deal damage. The first category of logistics is the weapon cards. These cards are equipped to either a unit or support card, depending on what the weapon is, which then allows these cards to attack the opponent. Some cards can engage at long range and allow them to be used further away on the battlefield. There is currently 24 weapon types in the game. Next is the equipment cards. These cards are used to equip unit and support cards with various equipment to increase stats and also allow them to initiate interesting attacks that require certain equipment. Next is the training cards. These cards are simply used to increase the stats of unit cards and also allow them to conduct rare and interesting attacks that require certain training. Lastly, you have staff cards, which also increase stats and initiate certain attacks. They can be attached to unit and support cards or used instantly on the battlefield. In summary, logistic cards are used to equip unit and support cards with weapons to attack, boost stats, and initiate an instant effect on the game. The last category you can find and use in the game is the orders cards. There's 4 types of cards in this category: actions cards, special attack cards, area of operation cards, and group cards. Order cards provide the ability to respond to your opponent's actions, conduct actions before and after your attack, set the location of the battlefield, and assign group stats to your deck. They also create more options and parameters in the game to make it more interesting. Action cards give the player the ability to create an action before or after their attacking phase. For example, heal a soldier or draw a card from the battlefield. Action cards also allow players to respond to their opponent's actions or attacks. Special attack cards are used to extend the types of attacks a player can use against their opponent. You can only use one special attack per turn, and they generally have higher damage rates. If all the requirements are met, a special attack card can be used. Next is the Area of Operation card. This card is selected by a player and is active throughout the entire game, until changed by another player. These cards can increase or decrease card stats depending on the location, and they can also create random events during the game. The last card is the Group card. You can only have one of these cards in your deck and active at one time, depending on the game type. They simply increase certain cards' stats to allow players to focus on use of certain tactics. To summarise, Orders cards give the player the ability to win the battle by indirect combat, respond to your opponent's moves, create more parameters in the game, alter card stats, and initiate special attacks. So those are the 4 card types in the game. Unit and support cards are used to directly engage and fight your opponent, whereas the logistics and orders cards provide players with the ability to assist unit and support cards in winning the battle. Currently development is slow due to me being a single man team, working on multiple aspects of this game to get it ready for release. My main effort is developing the first edition of the game and ensuring the game mechanics work. The core first edition will be the first release of this game. This edition will have over 100 cards available to collect and get you started in the game. The first edition will feature the United Kingdom, United States of America, Germany, France, China, and Russia. The game will be released on Kickstarter to see if people want to purchase this game and to allow me to continue in the future. The prices have not been set on how much this will cost and will be determined in the future, closer to the release. But Kickstarter is going to be the key for me launching this game due to the game having no funding or backing except myself. I am also working hard to produce a good website for you all to enjoy and for somewhere to post updates on the game. It will also be the location of the card database where you can access and view all the cards in the game to see what you need to collect and compare cards to see what works best in your deck. Next, I'm also creating a rulebook which we purchase as a hardback book for you to keep and take to games in the future, or be accessed online via PDF with your purchase. The rulebook will explain the game to great depth as it can be simple and complex depending on how you play the game and which game mode you play. But also don't worry, this game will be available in different languages. In the near future, I will be creating multiple trailers for release and also simple explanation videos about the game and how to play, so make sure to subscribe to see the videos first. Finally, I'm working on my social media presence and starting to increase my interaction with people interested in this game and its journey. I've already spoken with lots of followers on social media and received great ideas and feedback, but please keep sharing and liking, it helps a lot. As I've been working this game for roughly 4 years on and off now, I have lots of plans for the future and ideas I hope to deliver to the community that is growing around this game. One of my plans for the near future is to produce seasonal or annual informed cards. For example, a card of the year set of cards. These will be a unit or support cards that people have selected as the best cards of that year and produced and released into a limited edition card with higher stats to battle with. This will follow the similar format the FIFA Ultimate Team does with their informed cards. Here is an example of a card that may be released, and if voted the best card of that year, it will be created into a rare informed card. My other plans I have in the future is to release themed expansions for the game, based off a movie or a book, such as Top Gun or Black Hawk Down, or even Starship Troopers, if that is allowed in the future. Also, an era such as the Vietnam War or World War II may also be options in the future for this game to expand into. I also plan to create other products such as books, calendars, stickers, patches and merchandise connected and available for this game. If this game does well, a digital version may be a good idea to attempt to achieve, to allow more people to play and be involved, as I know it is more easier to play on a screen. Lastly, the long distance goals I have for this game would be world competitions, where people battle to win prizes. This may start small with local competitions. I'd also like to host events when cards are released. When I release an expanded deck themed on America, for example, I'd like to be released the cards at an event in that country, for those people to be the first to get their hands on those cards that is based on their country. Check in on our website, our social media pages, and this YouTube channel to keep up to date with our development, and I hope to see you on the battlefield, Commanders.
Strategy and strike.